Yo, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, your host with the most, creator, YouTuber, unstoppable independent podcaster, misunderstood lonely nomad, and of course Queens, New York native, who is also a New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And yes, you are now rocking with me by tuning in, listening, streaming, and watching the 92nd episode of the Sports Edition show. Excellent, fun, vibrant talks podcast. Live and direct from the comfort of my room, StreamYard, and of course, YouTube as well. And I do apologize for the delay of the upcoming episodes, including this one. Um, I was doing some job applications at the time, and I had to make sure that the podcasting recording schedule didn't conflict with the games on TV. So there's going to be a little bit of challenges and stuff. So it's going to be there's going to be some shuffling with this podcast recording schedule due to some of the games that's going to be like earlier nights. So I will give a rundown of the baseball games that's happening on TV broadcast in a couple of minutes. Now, listen, if you missed any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel page for more episodes, including more video recordings of each episode, including the sports topics. Leave a like and a comment along with the sports topics. Tell me how you feel about the topics in this episode and other episodes that you listen to. And I will mention another YouTube channel in a couple of minutes before I even wrap up this podcast recording. All right. So all right, so let's get to I'm sorry about that. Wrong button. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Clay Holmes and his confidence. Yesterday was yesterday was just out of the blue. We'll talk about it all in this segment right here. Hold on a second. The quick side bleacher bar, man. All right, let's do this. Do that again. All right. Let's start off with some passings. We got some passings in the world of sports that we got to get to. I want to get that out the way. So let's start off with this. Hold it right there. All right. Yeah, I'm not on mute, folks, so don't worry about that. All right, let's start off with let's start off with Jeff Torborg. All right, so here's what's happening here. According to the New York Post, Jeff Torborg, who parlayed his major league smarts as a catcher into a long-time managerial and coaching career, died Sunday, the White Sox announced. He was 83. No cause of death was immediately announced, but in recent years, Torborg had battled Parkinson's disease. Damn. The Westfield, New Jersey native managed the Mets for less than 2 seasons and had an extended coaching career with the Yankees in various roles. Torborg's greatest success as a manager came with the White Sox from 1989 to 91. He was named American League Manager of the Year in 1990 after leading the team to 94 victories. His stint managing the Mets was turbulent after the team finished 70 to 92 under his guidance in 1992, a unit that would later become known as the worst team money could buy. Torborg was fired only 38 games into the next season and replaced by Dallas Green. The Mets were 13-25 at the time. Torborg later managed the Expos and Marlins. In the latter job, he was fired early in the 2003 season before the team rallied to win the World Series under Torborg's replacement, Jack McKeon. It was after Torborg's first managerial job with Cleveland from 1977 to 79 that the former Rutgers standout returned home to begin a stint coaching with the Yankees that lasted nearly a decade. During that time, Torborg served as a bullpen coach and was among the numerous individuals in the 1980s to hold the pitching coach title for the Yankees during the heyday of team owner George Steinbrenner. Hang on a second. Hold on, George. Hold on 1 second. Why is this even on? All right. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, George Steinbrenner's volatility. Torborg's tenure with the Mets began as the team's payroll climbed to $45 million following the signing of high-profile free agent Bobby Bonilla. Other highly paid veterans on the team included Brett Saberhagen, Vince Coleman, and Eddie Murray. Hang on 1 second. Just a sec. All right. By June, the team was under 500. The Mets fell out of contention in the second half to finish 5th in the NL East. Torborg was fired in May of the following season with the Mets sputtering. Torborg spent his 10-year playing career with the Dodgers and Angels. He caught Sandy Koufax's perfect game in 1965. He also caught one of Nolan Ryan's 7 no-hitters. In between managerial stints, Torborg was a broadcaster for Fox and CBS Radio. In the latter job, he teamed with Vince Scully on the network's World Series coverage from 1995 to 97. We also have another passing. We also have another passing. So Phoenix police are investigating the stunning death of former Orioles pitcher Brian Matusz. He was 37. I can confirm we responded to a dead body call at a home near 44th Street and Campbell Avenue at about 2:45 p.m. On Monday. Phoenix Police Sergeant Phil Krinsky told NBC News. The deceased person found was indeed 37-year-old Brian Matusz. Currently, this incident is being handled as a death investigation. The cause and matter of death have yet to be determined, according to the Maricopa County Office of the Medical Examiner. So the Orioles and the University of San Diego, where the Southpaw became the most accomplished pitcher in program history from 2006 to 2008, announced his death Tuesday. USD said in a press release that Matusz's family first shared the news that day. Our hearts are heavy tonight as we mourn the passing of former Oriole Brian Matusz, the Orioles said. A staple in our clubhouse from 2009 to 2016, Brian was beloved throughout Birdland, and his passion for baseball in our community was unmatched. He dedicated his time to connecting with any fan he could, was a cherished teammate, and always had a smile on his face. Matusz made 279 of his 280 career appearances with the Orioles, who drafted the left-handed pitcher with the 4th overall pick in 2008. He went 27-41 with a 4.92 ERA, spanning in an 8-season career from 2009 to 16. Former Orioles manager Buck Showalter, who managed Matusz from 2010 to 16, said he spoke with many of Matusz's Orioles teammates after learning of his death, adding that he was stunned by the news. Brian was engaging, smiled easily, had a lot of quiet self-confidence. Showalter told the Baltimore Sun on Wednesday. I don't know. I'm kind of gathering my thoughts on it right now. It's tough. We all, as we get older, get in touch with our morality, but it's just too young. When something happens like this, I've always had a grip on reality, but this one, you kind of go, wow. Matusz won a World Series with the Chicago Cubs in 2016, which marked his final major league season. Colorado native, pitched for the AAA Reno Aces, which is the Diamondbacks, the following season. Matusz's last pitch professionally with the Long Island Ducks of the Atlantic League. All right. I believe we have another one. I believe we got another one here. So, yes. So Bob Uecker. Bob Uecker, who turned what was, by his own admission, a mediocre baseball career into a 54-year broadcasting gig with the Milwaukee Brewers that earned him a spot in the Baseball Hall of Fame and featured roles in commercials, a 1980s television series, and in the popular Major League film trilogy, died Thursday. He was 90. Uecker, a light-hitting catcher for 3 teams during a 6-year major league playing career, including stints with his hometown Milwaukee Braves and the 1964 world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Was known more for spouting one-liners than hitting line drives. And usually those barbs were aimed at his own undistinguished playing career. He hit 200 in 297 major league games and once led the league in pass balls. And I didn't even play in all the games, he said proudly. Uecker recalls signing with the Braves organization in 1956 for a $300,000 bonus. That bothered my dad at the time because he didn't have that kind of dough, Uecker said. But he eventually scraped it up. Wow. Wow. Yeah, this is some heavy shit though. Especially especially if you're going through something like health wise or anything like that. I mean, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody to see if they are okay. All right. So Uecker rose to fame beyond baseball after his friend trumpeter Al Hurt recommended him to late night television show host Johnny Carson as a possible guest. Soon Uecker was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson during the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. And it was those guest spots in which Uecker's deadpan, self deprecating humor was on full display that opened all kinds of doors. Any Anybody with ability can play in the big leagues, he said. But to be able to trick people year in and year out the way I did, I think that was a much greater feat. While probably best known now for his role as the somewhat inebriated but play-by-play man Harry Doyle in the Major League films. Uecker rose to fame initially in TV commercials for Miller Lite, primarily featuring a band of ex big league athletes, the Miller Lite All Stars, including John Madden, Tom Heinsohn, Bubba Smith, and Billy Martin, among others. In those ads, Uecker was portrayed as the odd man out. His career not quite good enough to not quite to allow entry to into that exclusive group. In the most famous of his ads, however, Uecker worked alone. While extolling the virtues of being a celebrity and the freebies he got from the team while walking through the stands at a ball game, Uecker makes his way to the box seats. But just as he sits down, and usher tells him he's in the wrong seat, a smiling Uecker gets up and says, "I must be in the front row." The commercial cuts to Uecker sitting in one of the last rows of the stadium's otherwise nearly empty upper deck, from where he yells, "He missed the tag. He missed the tag." Robert George Uecker was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on January 26, 1934 to August and Marie Uecker, the only son and eldest of three children. His father was a tool and die maker who had emigrated from Switzerland. Uecker starred in baseball and basketball at Milwaukee Technical High School, and somewhere along the way made the transition from pitcher to catcher. End quote. My first game, my parents and everybody was there, my friends, and the manager came out to take me out of the game, Uecker recalled. I didn't want to come out because I was embarrassed. I said, let me face this guy one more time because I struck him out the first time I faced him. The manager said, I know, but it's the same inning. I've got to get you out of it. I've got to get you out of here. And that was my move to catching. Um Uecker never finished high school, but after enlisting in the Army at the age of 20, that didn't stop him from saying he pitched for Marquette University's baseball team when he tried to land a spot playing for one of the military baseball teams. Those coveted assignments, which would keep him from being stationed overseas, were usually reserved for players who had played either in college or the minor leagues. But no one bothered to check and find out that Marquette, located in Uecker's hometown of Milwaukee, didn't have a baseball team. Uecker stayed stateside and played baseball on bases in Virginia and Missouri. After being, after his discharge, he signed with the Braves and bounced around the minors for 6 seasons before making the major league team out of spring training in 1961. But he was quickly sent back to the minors with Milwaukee manager Charlie Dressen telling Uecker, in quote, there's no room in baseball for clowns. The clown reached the majors to stay in 1962, and while it was a nondescript playing career, Uecker served the purpose by keeping his teammates loose in 1964, with Uecker as the backup to Tim McCarver. His Cardinals won a tight National League pennant race by coming from 10 games back and then beat the Yankees in a 7-game World Series. If Bob Uecker had not been on the Cardinals, then it's questionable whether we could have beaten the Yankees, said the late great McCarver, who, like Uecker, later became a Hall of Fame broadcaster. Despite leading the league in pass balls in 1967, Uecker was widely recognized as a fine defensive catcher and finished his career with a 981 fielding percentage, despite having to catch knuckleballer Phil Niekro one season. There, in quote, there was a game when Phil's brother Joe and he were pitching against each other in Atlanta. Uecker said their parents were sitting right behind home plate. I saw their folks day more than they did the whole weekend. Following his release from the team in 1968, Uecker became an ambassador for the Braves and also joined their television broadcast. A few years later, A few years later, Bud Selig, then the owner of the Braves, had moved from Milwaukee to Atlanta after the 1965 season, hired Uecker as a scout, and later moved him into his team's radio booth. It did naturally. End quote. I had everything to learn, and I spent 10 years learning it. He told People magazine. I didn't try to wisecrack my way through it. A master storyteller, Uecker received the Ford C. Frick Award from the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2003. He has been memorialized at the Brewers home park. Excuse me, the Brewers home ballpark, with a pair of statues, one outside the stadium and one inside in the last row of the upper deck in left field. A nod to that Miller Lite commercial. Eck was the light of the Brewers, the soundtrack of our summers, the laughter in our hearts, and his passing is a profound loss, the Brewers said in a statement. He was the heart and soul of Wisconsin and a dear friend. Bob loved people. His presence warmed every room. Excuse me. His presence warmed every room. And he had a way of welcoming all of us into his world as if we were lifelong friends. Saying goodbye to Bob shakes us all. He was so much more than a Milwaukee Brewers icon. He was a national treasure. Bob entertained us with his words and storytelling, so it is no surprise that his passing now leave us at a loss for our own words. From 1985 to 90, Uecker had a featured role in a TV sitcom, Mr. Belvedere. I'm pretty sure y'all folks remember that old TV show, in which he played sports writer George Owens. He also had a recurring role in the Major League films as Cleveland play-by-play man Harry Doyle, known to take a sip or two while on the air, and for the phrase just a bit outside to describe a pitch that was nowhere near home plate. Uecker is survived by son Bob Jr. and daughter Sue Ann. He was predeceased by a son, Steve, and a daughter, Leanne. It's been great, Uecker said during a 2005 ceremony at the Brewers ballpark, marking his 50 years in baseball. I'd like to do this again 50 years from now when I get to 100. Wherever I am, dig me up, bring me back here a couple of times around the warming track, and take me back to the hole where you picked me up. So SIP to Bob Uecker and Brian Matusz, and along with Jeff Torborg. All right. Let's lighten the mood. Let's lighten the mood here. Yeah, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the whole the whole weird scenario in terms of Alex Bregman. All right. So there's been a rumor about Alex Bregman coming to the New York Mets, which is not happening, by the way, folks. It was not happening. It wasn't going to happen. So let's see. Let me make sure. And this is according to MLB. Let me just break down what's going on. All right, so here's what's going on here. The Boston Red Sox today signed infielder Alex Bregman to a 3-year contract through the 2027 season. He will wear number 2 to make room on the 40-man roster. Boston placed left-handed pitcher Patrick Sandoval on the 60-day injured list. Bregman, age 30, is a 2-time All-Star from 2018 to 19, 2-time World Series champion 2017, 2022, and the winner of the 2019 Silver Slugger Award and 2024 Gold Glove Award at third base. He has earned American League Most Valuable Player, American League Most Valuable Player votes in 4 seasons. Between 2018 to 19, 2022 to 23, finishing second in 2019 and fifth in 2018, and was named Ted Williams All-Star Game MVP in 2018. The right-handed hitter has batted .272, 1,132 for negative 4,157 with an 849 OPS, 694 runs, scored 265 doubles, triples, 191 home runs, and 663 RBIs in 1,111 career games with the Houston Astros from 2016 to 24. Selected by Houston in the first round, number 2 overall, of the 2015 first-year player draft. He has made 977 career starts at third base, 107 at shortstop, 13 as the designated hitter, and 2 at second base. In 145 games during 2024, Bregman batted .260, 151 for 581 with 30 doubles, 2 triples, and 26 home runs while making 142 starts at third base and 3 as the designated hitter. It marked his 5th season with as many as 30 doubles, also 2017 to 19, 2022, and his 4th season with 25 or more home runs, also 2018 to 19, 2023. From May 9th through the end of the season, he batted .280, 127 for 454 with 25 doubles, 25 home runs, and an 838 OPS in 112 games. The 2-time World Series champion has played in the postseason in each of his eight full major league seasons, 2017 to 24. Sorry for the tongue tie. Tied for the longest current streak in the majors. In those 8 seasons, he has reached the American League Championship Series 7 times and the World Series 4 times. Since his debut in 2016, his 99 postseason games are tied for most in the majors. In that span, he ranks second in runs scored, 63, and extra base hits, 37, and tied for second in home runs, 19, and RBI, 54. Bregman owns the highest OPS, 1.240 of any player with at least 75 career plate appearances at Fenway Park, and ranks second in on base percentage, 490, trailing only Ted Williams, 496. In 21 games at the ballpark, Bregman has hit .375, 30 for 80 with 24 runs scored, 9 doubles, and 7 home runs. The New Mexico native was selected by the Red Sox out of Albuquerque Academy High School in the 29th round of the 2012 first-year player draft, but did not sign and attend Louisiana State University. Along with his wife, Reagan, Alex founded founded the Bregman Cares charity to accelerate life-changing resources to those in need. The foundation has focused on autism awareness and at-risk youth, to raising $1 million. He was named the Astros Roberto excuse me, hold up. He was named the Astros Roberto Clemente Award nominee 3 times from 2019 to 21. Sandoval, age 28, was signed by Boston to a 2-year contract on December 23rd, 2024. The left-hander made 16 starts for the Los Angeles Angels in 2024 before undergoing Tommy John surgery on June 26th. Originally selected by the Houston Astros in the 11th round of the first year player draft. The California native has posted a 4.01 ERA with 529 strikeouts in 107 career major league games with the Astros. Excuse me, not the Astros, the Angels, sorry. All right. So the Boston Red Sox 40-man roster goes like this. Pitchers, Brian Bello, Brennan Bernardino, Walker Bueller, Aroldis Chapman, Cutter Crawford, Cooper Criswell, Garrett Crochet, who's also in there. Garrett Crochet is also with the Boston Red Sox as well. Hunter Dobbins, Richard Fitz, Lucas Giolito, Luis Guerrero, Liam Hendricks, Tanner Houck, Zach Kelly, Chris Murphy, Zach Penrod, Luis Perales, Quinn Priester, Justin Justin Slayton, Greg Weissert, Garrett Whitlock, Justin Wilson, and Josh Winkowski. Catchers Carlos Navarez, Blake Sabal, and Connor Wong. Infielders includes Alex Bregman, Tristan Cassis, Rafael Devers, Vaughn Grissom, David Hamilton, and Trevor Story. Outfielders, Willier Abreu, Jaron Duran, and Jay Housty. No, excuse me. Jay Houston. Zon Garcia. Rob Ref Snyder. Masataka Yoshida. All right, so infielders and outfielders, Romy Gonzalez, Kadane, Rafaela, and Nick Sosgard. And yeah, so the only person that's on the injured list is Patrick Sandoval. Okay, so that rumor has been debunked. Let's see. All right. I wanted to talk. I want to talk about. I want to talk about Francisco Alvarez, man. This is pretty heartbreaking. Before he injured himself, I want to act. Before he injured himself, um, he did a press conference. I want to go over this actually, if you will. Let me see. Yeah, so he did a press conference before he got injured. So the 2025 Mets season trickling into Port St. Lucie on Monday. Francisco Lindor took batting practice. So did the newly acquired Nick Madrigal, who by the way is already injured. I'm not going to get into. I'll do a separate episode about that another time. So Tyler McGill showed off the new spring training hat, and Francisco Alvarez, who said he spent the offseason getting mentally stronger, made a bold statement. And quote, "I think it's going to be a great lineup," the catcher said. "I think we are the best lineup in the whole baseball. It's what I think. We have speed, we have power, we have hitting guys, we have power hitters, we have everything. So we have power hitters, we have power hitters, we have yeah, we have speed, we have power, we have hitting guys, we have power hitters. We have everything. So I think we are the best lineup in baseball. So we can fight with any team. That's confidence right there. Um, the Mets added Juan Soto to a lineup that scored the seventh most runs in baseball a year ago. Alvarez also said he thought a healthy Kodai Senga would be a big plus this season. He's nasty and he's going to help the team a lot. An improved offense, Senga and Alvarez's improved mental toughness. My mind is going to be way stronger than last year. Will hopefully help the 23-year-old reach his goal for 2025. Um, win the World Series. Okay, so yeah, I'm not even gonna go through all this stuff. So and all right, so meanwhile, Griffin Canning, who the Mets signed as a free agent this winter after he went 6-13 with a 5.19 ERA with the Angels, told reporters he hopes to earn a spot in the rotation. He is likely to be competing with McGill and Paul Blackburn. End quote. I'm sure I'm competing for a spot, but that's all you can ask, he said. I think competition brings out the best in guys. So yeah, looking forward to just learning from Hef um, and some of these guys and some of the other pitchers on the staff and just competing and having fun. Now, for those of you who may not know, Hef is short for Jeremy Hefner, the pitching coach. Okay, so it's exciting. I think we've got a lot of guys that can go out there and compete and dominate. So, like I said, I think we're just looking forward to getting started here and see what we got. Family matters for Stanek. Reliever Ryan Stanek acquired at the trade deadline and re-signed to a one-year contract last month, said the organization's emphasis on family in part helped him make the call to come back to Queens. The clubhouse and the vibe, the 33-year-old said, and obviously the team is good, but they were really welcoming for me and my family The baseball is the baseball. Stanek isn't the first Met to comment on the team's family first atmosphere. It's what landed the Mets Soto and re-signed Sean Manaea. More importantly, it's what makes them a tight-knit group on and off the field, from the players to staff to partners. It's a lot of the stuff that goes into behind the scenes, like the quality of life things for families that matter for people with kids, that actually takes a bigger weight than most people would assume. They took great care of my family, and that meant a lot to me. Let me see. All right, so we got some breaking news that we got to talk about involving Francisco Alvarez. Let me just damn. Let me make sure let me find it first. All right, so unfortunately, we got some breaking news in sports regarding Francisco Alvarez. According to Sports Illustrated, the New York Mets will be without their starting backup to begin the 2025 season. The Mets catcher Francisco Alvarez will miss 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured left hamate bone, an injury that will require surgery. Manager Carlos Mendoza told reporters on Sunday. Alvarez reportedly suffered an injury on Sunday during live at bats, Mendoza said. Wow. This shit has got to fucking hurt the team. Yeah, it's got to hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's got to hurt. Yeah. It's got to hurt, though. All right. Alvarez is entering his fourth season and third full campaign with the Mets. The 23-year-old has posted a 221, 294, 423 slash line with 37 home runs, 111 RBIs, and 93 runs scored in 228 career games. Veteran Luis Torrens is the only other catcher listed on the Mets active roster. He's And as I saw yet in yesterday's game, he is the starting catcher. And a little side note here. The backup catcher for Luis Torrens is Hayden Sanger. I actually saw him in action. He didn't really do much in the game that I saw yesterday, but so yeah, it's I mean, it's only the first game, folks. You know what I mean? And even though they lost, I will speak on that. I'll speak on that in a sec. So, all right. Let's talk about how the bullpen is taxed for the Mets. This is something that some of the this is something that some of the Mets fans out there probably don't understand. I want to actually get to let me see. Let me find that let me find that all right. A little breakdown on how the bullpen is taxed. Okay. So with Pete Alonso's 2-year, $54 million deal agreed upon $27 million, of which will count towards 2025. The Mets roster payroll has jumped to an impressive $320 million, second only to the Los Angeles Dodgers, estimated to $382 million. It solidifies the Mets as one of the MLB's highest spending teams once again. Breaking down the Mets 2025 payroll, current payroll allotments, $301,950. $301,950,000. Arbitration salaries, $19 million. CBT adjustments, including player benefits, minor league costs, etc., $63 million. The total competitive balance tax payroll, $320 million. The luxury tax threshold is $241 million, meaning the Mets are about $79 million over the limit and subject to financial penalties. All right, the luxury tax breakdown. As a team exceeding the highest penalty tier, $297 million, the Mets are subject to the humorously coined Steve Cohen tax surcharge of 110% on every dollar spent beyond the breakout. First tier tax, $241 million to $261 million, 20% on $20 million to $4 million. Second tier tax, $261 million, $281 million, 32% on $20 million to equals to $6.4 million. Third tier tax, $281 million minus $297 million, 62.5% on $16 million equals to $10 million. The final surcharge, $297 million plus 110% on $23 million equals to $25.3 million. The total luxury tax penalty is $79.7 million. Jeez. Jeez, man. For perspective, this tax bill alone exceeds the entire payrolls of the bottom six MLB teams. The Cleveland Guardians, $76.7 million. Tampa Bay Rays, $72.6 million. Pittsburgh Pirates, $69.9 million. Chicago White Sox, $61.2 million. Athletics, $54.1 million. And Miami Marlins, $43.6 million. And the Mets' top five salaries for 2025: Juan Soto, $51.88 million. Francisco Lindor, $34.1 million. Pete Alonso, $27 million. Sean Manaea, $25 million. Starling Marte, in his last year of his contract, $20.75 million. These five players alone account for about $158 million, or 49% of the team's payroll. With owner Steve Cohen's unwavering commitment to bringing a World Series championship to Queens, the Mets' financial strategy is not just an expensive mix, but investment. The long-term guaranteed anchors position the club for a significant principal return on investment, while the short-term pop with a bit of risk involved could be an additional exciting spark. The extensive depth is an insurance hedge on the 162 game grind, reinforcing the Mets' intelligent and financially savvy edge in a competitive National League. So that's your breakdown of why the bullpen taxed. So yeah, the payroll tax. All right, so um I did talk. Well, wait. Let's get to Griffin Canning. Let's get to Griffin Canning. This is basically a recap of what went down to spring training. So this is a recap actually. So Griffin Canning became hooked on the Mets this offseason when team officials on a Zoom call during his recruitment started discussing the technology they use to help pitchers improve. One such technology system is um, Tracks, which shows a three-dimensional skeleton of a pitcher's delivery rather than just video of his mechanics. Canning was intrigued by the discussion, which he said was a factor in his decision to sign with the Mets. The right-hander received a one-year contract worth $4.25 million from the club. The Mets, now in the third season of their pitching lab, are among the MLB teams at the forefront of incorporating technology into their pitching development. Canning, age 28, spent 6 seasons with the Angels, who were less inclined to employ such methods. It's a little bit different, Canning said. The Angels might have had all the stuff, but they really didn't incorporate it. They kind of, no fault of theirs, wanted to give guys the information when they felt they were ready for it because it was overwhelming sometimes. Once Mets instructors get some eyes on me, I think we'll kind of dive into some of that stuff. Canning said he understands why pitchers might view new wave of information available as overwhelming, but he's here to learn. As a delivery guy, Canning wants to study his mechanics. Once he has a good idea about his optimal delivery, he says it will allow him to utilize new pitches. I think it would be stupid not to use the technology to get yourself better, Canning said. But it also matters the guys that are running it and dissecting it and boiling it down for you in a simple way you can understand it. The Mets instruction group includes pitching coach Jeremy Hefner, new assistant pitching coach Desi Druschel and Director of Pitching Development Eric Jaggers, however you pronounce it. Canning pitched to a 5.19 ERA in 32 appearances last season, 31 as a starter, and figures to contribute as part of the six-man rotation the Mets plan to employ for much of the season. Last season, the Mets received strong results from Sean Manaea and Luis Severino, among others trying to resurrect their careers. Sometimes you kind of come into a new environment and somebody might say something a different way or little things like that. Canning said, you can kind of feed off the energy of the guys. Obviously, the kind of year the Mets were able to have last year, I think it can kind of roll into spring training and bring some good vibes around. All right. Next we have all right. So one of the players has no options left, and that would be Jose Azocar. Yeah, so let's talk about him. Okay. All right. Let's go here. So for those of you who may not know who Jose Azocar is, he is a notable player for the New York Mets, known for his versatility as an outfielder. He made his Major League Baseball debut with the San Diego Padres in 2022 and has since established himself as a reliable addition to the Mets roster. His journey from the Padres to the Mets highlights his determination and potential in the competitive world of baseball. After being claimed off waivers by the Mets in September 2024, Azocar was quickly placed on the 40-man roster, reflecting the team's confidence in his abilities. Standing at 5 feet 11 inches and weighing 181 pounds, he combines speed and agility, making him a valuable asset for the Mets in both offense and defense. Fans are eager to see how his skills will contribute to the team's success in the upcoming seasons. With 21 runs batted in and 18 stolen bases under his belt, Azocar's performance on the field has garnered attention. As he continues to grow in his career, he represents a promising future for the Mets. Baseball enthusiasts and casual fans alike will want to keep an eye on his progress as he navigates his role in New York. Yeah. So there you go. I'm not even gonna go to all this stuff, so I'm not even gonna go to. So anyway, let's go on to let me see what I have here. Let me see. Let's go on to Carson Benge. Let's go to Carson Benge. All right. Hold on. Next, we have Carson Benge. All right, so he's in the minor. He's also He's also in the minor leagues, actually. So here's what's happening here with Carson Benge, according to minor league baseball. No, actually, Sports Illustrated. My apologies. MLB Pipeline's list of the top 100 prospects in baseball is a living document, and the preseason list is bound to change once the 2025 campaign gets underway. MLB.com senior writer Jonathan Mayo answered a handful of inbox questions in an article published Friday, breaking down the long list of prospects who are nearing graduation to the big leagues as part of one of his answers. With Washington Nationals outfielder Dylan Cruz, Athletics shortstop Jacob Wilson, Cincinnati Reds pitcher Rhett Lauder, and Los Angeles Dodgers Roki Sasaki, all set to exhaust their eligibility in the early days of the regular season. They will each need to be replaced on MLB Pipeline's list of the top 100 prospects. According to Mayo, the favorite to be the first to claim one of the vacated spots is New York Mets outfield prospect Carson Benge. New York selected Benge in the first round of the 2024 MLB draft, picking the Oklahoma State product at number 19 overall. He is effectively ranked as the number 101 prospect in baseball by MLB Pipeline, third highest among Mets prospects. Baseball Prospectus had Benge at number 71 in its own preseason rankings. Across his 2 seasons at Oklahoma State, Benge hit .339 with 25 home runs, 41 doubles, 107 RBIs, 18 stolen bases, and a 1.064 OPS in 120 games. He appeared in 15 games for Single A St. Lucie after getting drafted, batting .273 with 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 8 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, and an .857 OPS. The 22-year-old isn't expected to reach the majors until 2027, which is 2 years, giving him plenty of time to refine his skills down on the farm. Still, the praise has already started to come pouring in, and the Mets could have another elite outfielder on their hands in no time. So there you go. Right there. Let's see. Let's see what I have left to talk about here. Yes. In case y'all wondering, man, I want to get to this topic actually involving the app for MLB. So I'm gonna break this down for y'all actually, in case y'all wondering what's going on with SNY, the app and stuff. So I'll break it down. Don't worry. All right, according to MLB, fans living in the New York area can watch SNY games and programming on the MLB app, along with SNY coverage of New York sports 24/7 coverage available by opening day. Current SNY subscribers can authenticate their account by visiting Mets.com/SNY. Now, here's the breakdown of the cost. Excuse me. Buy SNY seasonal so seasonal will be $124.99, or SNY monthly, $24.99 today. Damn, they're really phasing out the SNY app, which is crazy. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Yeah. That's why did I do that? All right, let me continue with this explanation here. According to this article, all right, by partnering with MLB, all SNY subscribers will have access to the most enhanced viewing experience with live games, highlights, player stats, pitch tracking, full game replays, and the flexibility to enjoy games on demand across a variety of platforms. End quote. We are thrilled to partner with Major League Baseball in making SNY more broadly available to sports fans in the tri-state area, says Steve Rabb, president of SNY. 2025 marks SNY's 20th season, and this enhanced streaming product reflects our continued commitment to providing sports fans with the flexibility to watch SNY wherever and however they choose. MLB has worked extensively with numerous parties in the sports media space to help expand the reach of MLB games and eliminate local blackouts where we can, said Kenny Gersh, MLB Executive Vice President, Media and Business Development. With the high quality production and elite broadcasting talent that SNY offers, along with the excitement surrounding the 2025 Mets. We are looking forward to offering Mets fans in the tri-state area this new option to enjoy their favorite club. The new SNY streaming service will be available for purchase for $24.99 a month, $124.99 for the MLB season, or $149.99 annually via the MLB app. SNY can also be bundled with MLB.TV for $44.99 a month or $219.99 for the MLB season. Damn. The MLB app is available on a variety of devices and platforms, including iOS, Android, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Google TV, and Samsung connected TVs. Regular season games exclusively broadcast by national networks, which includes Fox, ESPN, Apple TV Plus, or Pix 11. WPIX 11 are not included in this offering. Fans within SNY's regional coverage territory, New York State, Connecticut, and New Jersey, and Northeastern Pennsylvania, who are authenticated subscribers through their respective pay TV providers, will also be able to access the SNY stream at no extra charge through the MLB app starting in March, which is which already happened. The SNY app will be discontinued at the end of March. All right. All right. All right. Despite the fact that this is the first game that Clay Holmes started as the opening day starter, despite the fact that the Mets lost to the Houston Astros 3-1, despite all that, I want to talk about Clay Holmes and his confidence. So let's get into it right here. So, free agent signing Clay Holmes has the pure stuff to provide ace level production for the New York Mets in 2025. Holmes, age 31, was signed this offseason to be a starter after 7 years as one of the baseball's best relievers, spending the last 3.5 seasons with the New York Yankees. The two-time All-Star picked up 74 saves on the strength of his sinker, slider, and sweeper trio. But in his spring training debut yesterday in Port St. Lucie's Clover Park, Holmes flashed 2 new additions to his arsenal that have the potential to catapult him into the top tier of MLB starters plying their trade across the league. Holmes threw 6 distinct pitches against the Houston Astros, including them to no hits or walks, while striking out 3 in his 3 scoreless innings. He threw 34 pitches, 26 of which landed for strikes. In addition to his 3 most used pitches from last season and his existing but seldom used 4-seam fastball, Holmes debuted a new cutter and his kick change, which he developed over the offseason with the help of pitching lab Tread Athletics. Now, let's break down what a kick change is actually. I was going to actually I can't really show a video about it, but I think I have an idea. I think I have an idea on so I think I have an idea on how to explain this actually with another article actually. So, for those of you who may not know, hang on a second here. So the kick change is great for pitchers who already throw sliders and or cutters. Why? To put it very simply, it allows slider throwing pitchers to maintain their existing style of movement. There's a whole lot more to it, but I'll try to make a tidy explanation first before a deeper breakdown for those invested. When pitchers are developing, typically their repertoire will emerge based on their arms' natural release and motion. Among a host of other factors is the concept of supination or pronation. Supination is the outward rotation at the release point, while pronation is the inward rotation at release. Our focus today is on the kick change, but in order to understand its usage, it will be helpful to understand its compatriots. There are 3 standard change-up styles. So you have the split change, exactly what it sounds like. It's a fastball grip 4 or 2 seam with an added third finger atop the ball that creates friction, which causes the pitch to slow and sink upon release. Think Trevor Hoffman. Circle change, again, it's written on the tin. The index finger and the thumb pitch together to create a circle, and when the pitcher's arm comes around, they rotate their wrist so that the circle has almost entirely inverted at the time of release. This rotation and release is referred to as pronating, and it's the opposite of what we talked about with the kick change. Supernating or rotating outward, the Royal Curve's faithful sidekick. Split change, you guessed it. You are splitting your fingers to throw this. For some, it's between index finger and middle finger. For others, middle and ring fingers. What's what's key here is that the grip is split between two fingers, limiting spin generation on release, which helps the ball lose altitude swiftly in flight. To consistently execute this pitch necessitates some lengthy digits, limiting its utility somewhat. So yeah. Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, and Bryce Miller have all adopted versions of this pitch in the past year or two as it's had a league-wide resurgence. Okay. And the kick change is essentially a circle change grip thrown like a fastball or slider with a twist. The pitcher spikes their middle finger up to press on the seam, which allows that finger to kick the ball forward on release, tilting the axis of the ball forward at release and allowing it to catch more significant air resistance in flight. With this kick, despite the ball coming out of the hand with slider like rotation, it will tail to the pitcher's arm side and sink due to its lower spin rate and its particular spin axis. The examples I've seen tend to maintain solid velocity akin to hard slider. The folks at Tread Athletics who train many big leaguers, including several former and current Mariners, have a solid tutorial on the pitch. Let me see. This is crazy. So I think that's the breakdown. Wait, hold on. Hold on. So yeah, that's the breakdown of what a kick change is actually. So there you go. That's from MSN, the website. So let's get back to Clay Holmes for a sec. Come on. All right, so while the sample sizes were small, the only 3 cutters being thrown among his 26 pitches, Holmes showed that it is a dangerous threat to left-handed hitters, a historic weakness of the former reliever. Across his career, lefties have hit 42 points better off of Holmes than righties, although that mark was down to only 20 points last season. The pitch came in at an average of 91 miles per hour yesterday and with more depth than his previous slider he threw to lefties. 2 movement characteristics that should allow it to be maximally effective in those platoon situations. The kick change as well also showed surprising depth, looking similar in movement to his turbo sinker, but with a 7 miles per hour velocity difference. The kick change actually didn't move as much as Holmes wanted it. Per Tread Athletics founder Ben Brewster. You can subscribe to their YouTube channel as well so you can get a better understanding and more information on what a kick change is as they explain in the video. This was not a particularly deafy day for the kick change. Brewster wrote on X, explaining that the pitch had been averaging negative vert most of the offseason, as low as 10 VB in layman's terms, the kick change was dropping 8 to 11 inches more over the winter than it did on Saturday, hinting that the pitch is not completely dialed in yet, and that potential improvement should have the rest of the National League worried. Per pitching analyst Nestico, Thomas Nestico, the new Arsenal models as potentially one of the league's best from a stuff plus perspective, with every pitch but the changeup registering as at least league average, 100 score or better. Additional drop to the changeup will push it from 95 to an above average score as well, potentially giving Holmes 3 elite pitches in the kick change, the sinker, and his sweeper. It is not just the new pitches that impressed from Holmes on Saturday, however. The four-seam fastball, thrown only 1% of the time in 2024, appears to be significantly different and better than it looked last season. On Saturday, the pitch averaged significantly more induced vertical break, taking it from a below-average mark of 6 inches IVB to an elite mark of 17 inches, coming in at an average of 96.6 miles per hour. And with the new shape, it now appears to be a legitimate weapon. And yet another compliment to both his new pitches and the existing elite sinker and sweeper combo. With the Mets facing rotation questions due to the potential workload issues for incumbent ace Kodai Senga, who threw only 5.1 regular season innings last year in the face of shoulder and calf injuries and the injury to Frankie Montas, having Holmes potentially putting up ace-level performances should give New York the cushion they need to make it through the regular season and still have multiple postseason starters available for October. Okay, so that was your breakdown of what a kick change is and the explanation to give a better understanding. Let's go to, I'm going to go to I'm going to go to let's go to hold on. Let's go to the next segment right here. Sports podcast of the week. Yes, so for those of you that are new, sports podcast of the week is when I actually give you recommendations to listen to sports podcasts. Actually, so I'm going to break that down. I'm going to break that down actually, so you folks at home could actually get a better idea on. So y'all could get a better idea on where you can listen. So let's get into it right here. Yeah, so starting with Mets Daily by Jake Brown. Wardy NYM, a show about the New York Mets. And by the way, congratulations to Wardy for being featured in the documentary The Pursuit involving Juan Soto and the recent interview that he did with Evan Roberts on the Rico Bronya podcast, which I will check out in a few minutes. Mostly Mets by Jimmy Mack. The 3-inning fan podcast with Kelly Franco. You got Mets Fix, Mets Central, Digging Deep, Rico Bronya podcast with Evan Roberts, Locked On Mets podcast, Ryan Finkelstein, Locked On New York Sports YouTube channel where you can check out the postcast of the New York Knicks, Locked On Knicks, Locked On Knicks postcast. You have Locked On Giants postcast. Locked On Yankees postcast alongside with Locked On Mets postcast by Chris Schubert. You can also check him out on the Believe in Mets podcast as well. And of course, Locked On Sports Today podcast, which includes the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and NCAA. Mets Weekly, Foul Territory, Till Mets Do Its Part, Subway Shade podcast, Subway Sports Talk. And also be sure to subscribe to a fellow New York Mets fan, Dominant Mets Nation. Be sure to check his page out. He does his homework on the New York Mets and everything, which is very impressive. Shea Station with Jolly Olive and Jerry Blevins. You can also check out the Mets pod with Connor Rogers and Joe DeMayo. Meet at the Apple, New York Mets official podcast as well. Check out Metcast, hosted by Ray. Who's Right Mets podcast. CP's True Mets Talk podcast. You Know I'm Right podcast. Believe in Mets podcast. And of course, be sure to check out Top Bunk Sports alongside with 7 Express podcast, by the way. Be sure to check that out. Subscribe to those pages as well. And for those of you who may not know, 7 Express podcast, this is basically the host with Top Bunk, aka David, along with his co-host with AP and Chris. And of course you can listen to Laura Albanise's show, First a Long Time Listener podcast, Mets Therapy, Why My Mets Fan podcast, Talking Mets. You can also check out Empire State of Baseball podcast, Bourbon and Baseball, First Pitch Daily Recap podcast, Shay and Sons podcast. You can also check out the Triborough podcast. You can also check out and subscribe to Empire State Sports Report podcast by Adriana, who covers the New York Giants alongside with the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. And she also has another YouTube channel that you can check out as well. It's called Latest. Be sure to subscribe over there as well. We got the Deferred Collusion podcast, Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast, Locked On Nets podcast, Hoops for Hotties podcast, Locked On NBA, Locked On MLB, Locked On Fantasy Football, Mets Stop podcast, Nothing Personal with David Sampson, Early Game, Flipping Bats and Nerds podcast, Locked Up Sports, New York Sports Talk, TMZ Sports, Locked On New York Giants podcast, It Is What It Is podcast, and Locked On College Football podcast, Locked On College Basketball podcast. Of course, check out the Queensboro Sports podcast, and of course, Locked On NFL Draft podcast. All right. And also another YouTube channel you could check out. Wardy actually has another channel as well. It's called Wardy MLB. Be sure to subscribe over there as well. All right. What else, man? what else? I hope I didn't miss anything. Yeah, let me take a look. Let me take a look here. Let me take a look and see if I missed out on. Yes, he did this to me podcast, just baseball show for baseball fans. Let me see. Mets podcast. We gotta believe. Um, let's see. You got unpopular opinion sports talk sports ringer NBA Mayday with Trevor May. Um, and of course, I mentioned Locked On New York Giants podcast. No, Locked On New York Giants postcast. NFL Good Morning Football, Talking Baseball, Mets Weekly, Nation League Town, a Mets podcast. Be sure to check out Baseball America as well. Digging Weekly and Digging Deep podcast. Be sure to check that out as well. Unapologetically Angel. Be sure to also subscribe to, of course, Filthy Sports by John Campia. And let's see what else. What am I missing here? Let me take a look and see what I'm missing. Let's see. What am I missing? Let me see what I'm missing here. Let me see. I think hang on one second. I think that's about it for now. Let me see. Let me see if I missed out on any. Let me see if I missed out on anything else. I think that's it, man. I think that's it actually. Any other sports YouTube channel pages or anything that I forgot to add on, I will put that in for future reference. So there you go right there. There you go right there. And I think I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to wrap up right here actually. So let me just find that last segment right here. Let me find that last segment right there. Oh yeah. Okay. All right, we're gonna wrap up right here, man. With this last segment right here. Hold on a second. Wrong thing. With stream choices on the go, man. All right. This is where I actually tell you where you can listen, where you can follow the podcast on social media and everything else in between. And I do have a few words that I want to say. And I have to I also want to remind y'all involving the New York Mets TV broadcasting schedule that's happening before I wrap up the show right here. So let me just do this right here. So stream choices on the go, man. Let's go. All right. There we go. All right. Make sure you follow the Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast on Blue Sky Social, Facebook, Threads, and along with Instagram, plus my other podcast shows that's also on Blue Sky, Facebook's, Threads, and Instagram are the Entertainment Review Show, Meticulous Verge podcast, and of course, Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast as well. Of course, be sure to and of course, you can follow your host with the most Also on Threads and Instagram as well, so you can actually get more updates and stuff. Actually, so I know I haven't been on Instagram Live for the past couple of months, but I am going to update y'all on what's going on with certain episodes that's going to be dropping and all that stuff on Threads, along with Blue Sky Social, along with Facebook, and along with everything else in between when I get a chance. All right, so yes, follow your host with the most G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. And if you go to the link in bio, you're going to see a whole list of other streaming platforms that I will mention and and starting with Odyssey, Audible, Amazon Music, Breaker, Bullhorn FM, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM, Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podhound, Podopolo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podvine, Snips, Spotify. Of course, you can add the podcast to your Spotify playlist. If you have Spotify on your phone, go ahead and add the podcast to your playlist. Whether you are on the go, to work, classes, and other destinations, or if you're coming from those destinations to home, you can also check it out as well. So there you go, right there. And Spotify for podcasters. You can also comment on Spotify for podcasters as well. And of course, you can also listen on TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to your favorite music artists, such as R&B singers, and R&B singers and other singers in country, rock, rap, hip hop, and along with radio stations, and of course you can listen to podcast episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is follow the podcast on every streaming platform, including iHeartRadio. If you don't have iHeartRadio, you can download it onto your iPhones, Android phones. You can also download on your iPads, Android tablets, laptops, and alongside with Apple, Mac, and Dell laptop models. All right. And also, if you don't have Blue Sky Social, you can download it to your iPhones, Android phones, iPads, and Android tablets, laptops, as well as Apple, Mac, and Dell laptop models. All right. So yeah, there you go, right there, man. And also make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel page G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. Now, in case you're wondering how to watch the episodes and stuff like that, yeah, I know a lot of people are having an issue with trying to watch the podcast videos and stuff like that. But I'll tell you this though, you can go to the podcast playlist. You can also go to live section where some of the episodes already been recorded. It's already going to be featured in the playlist, so don't worry about that. And yeah, check out the episodes in the podcast playlist. And of course, leave a like and a comment along with the topics in each episode, sports topics to be exact. And also be sure to tell your friends by spreading the word be sure to share the videos. Be sure to also add the podcast to your playlist, including Spotify. Be sure to also also more video podcast episode live stream recordings. And of course, be sure to also enable alerts so you don't miss out on each live stream that's going to start with the day, date, and time. And of course, you can share the Linktree link full of streaming platform links that I just mentioned to your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with from work. And of course, new episodes are going to be dropping on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, wherever you get to listen, stream, and watch your podcast. All right, man. I want to let me just say this though. That's gonna really do it for me. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, and let me just take the time to say thank you to every single one of you who took the chance to actually check out the episodes and the sports topics and hear me out on a couple of things. And remember, the grind doesn't stop, hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to earn it, because it's not going to be given to you on a fucking silver platter. All right. Of course, for those of you who are wondering how to start a podcast and everything else, find your niche, find your topics that you want to talk about and all that great stuff. And also be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, creatively, create mentally, physically, and spiritually. Creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. That gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. Now, before I get up out of here, man, I want to remind y'all about tomorrow's game. Actually, for those of you who couldn't watch the New York Mets game today, which was on Apple TV Plus, I want to give like a rundown on the TV broadcasting schedule. So let me just do that before I get up out of here. All right. Let me see. No. Okay. So let's see. So here's a rundown of the TV broadcasting schedule. So let's get into it right here. Let me make a little correction here, man. This is supposed to be 7:00, not 7:15, not 6:15. So we're gonna put in 7:00. Hold on a second. All right, boom. So tomorrow, the New York Mets are going to be facing the Astros. I want to make sure that the New York Mets are going to be facing the Astros. Yeah, they're going to be facing the Astros on Fox 5 at 7 p.m. Check your local listings. For me and for those who are in the East Coast, we have Fox 5. For other states, check your local listings. Monday, March 31st, the Mets versus Miami Marlins on SNY is on. It starts at 5:40 p.m. Tuesday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. Yeah, 6:40 New York Mets versus Miami Marlins at 6:40 p.m. on SNY. Wednesday, April 2nd, New York Mets versus Miami Marlins on SNY, 4:40 p.m. Friday, April 4th, Toronto Blue Jays versus New York Mets at 3:10 p.m. at Citi Field. Along with Saturday, 7:10 p.m. on SNY. Sunday, April 6th, Toronto Blue Jays versus New York Mets at 1:10 p.m. on WPIX 11, or as they say, PIX. Either way, it's the same channel 11. So, and for those who don't have channel 11, you can check your local listings as well. So don't worry, I didn't leave you out. Let's see. I want to mention. Yeah. Like I said, Saturday, April 5th, Toronto Blue Jays versus New York Mets at 7:10 p.m. on SNY. Of course, like I said, Friday, April 4th, Toronto Blue Jays versus New York Mets, SNY, 3:10 p.m. on SNY at Citi Field. Also, what's going down at Citi Field is Miami Marlins versus the New York Mets at 7:10 p.m. On Monday, 7:10 p.m., same on SNY. And alongside with Wednesday, April 9th, Miami Marlins versus New York Mets, 1:10 p.m. on SNY. And along with Friday, April 11th, New York Mets versus Athletics, 10:05 p.m. And Saturday, April 12th, New York Mets versus Athletics, 4:05 p.m. And of course, Sunday, April 13th, New York Mets versus Athletics at 4:05 p.m. on WPIX 11. So there you go, right there, folks. In case you didn't know, I did put up the TV broadcast schedule in the community post on the sports YouTube channel page. If you get a chance, go to the section where it says post, and you're gonna see the post of the TV broadcasting schedule. And I did put the promotional giveaway schedule, which is happening um next month. Actually, while I'm at it, let me just go to a rundown real quick. Actually, all right. Let's see. Where is this? Broadcast schedule. All right, here we go. So on Saturday, April 5th, there is going to be a Juan Soto Players Pin. Sunday, April 6th, 2025, scheduled picture frame. April 8th, Friday, April 18th, Brandon Nimmo hoodie jersey presented by Invesco Triple Q. Saturday, April 19th, Mr. Met Empire State Building bobblehead presented by Citi. And of course, Clay Holmes hockey jersey presented by Hyundai on Friday, May 9th. Edwin Diaz bobblehead on Saturday, May 10th. Mother's Day clutch purse on Sunday, May 11th. Kodai Senga replica jersey presented by Nathan's Famous on Saturday, May 24th. Mark Vientos bobblehead presented by SeatGeek on Sunday, May 25th. There you go right there, man. There you go right there. Yeah, like I said, man, I appreciate every single one of y'all who took the chance to to check out the episodes, and of course got a chance to take a look at this episode whatsoever. And I want to say something before I get up out of here, actually, man. Look, it's only the first game that the Mets lost, though. It's only the first game, man. And it's not Clay Holmes' fault. And I hate when some of the Mets fans over fucking react, man. It's only game one. They got game two tomorrow night, 7 p.m., Fox 5. Be there or be squared. All right. Check your local listings. All right. And I want to say this though, just because there's a bunch of injuries that's going on with the Mets and stuff does not mean that we are fucking cursed or jinxed. We're not cursed. We're not fucking jinxed, man. Like, can we stop with the fucking gloom and doom shit, man? Enough already. I just wanted to say this though, man, because that shit really grinds my gears though, man. So I had to say this shit, man. I had to say it. Anyway, man, buckle up for tomorrow's game on Fox 5. Check your local listings. New York Mets versus Houston Astros. All right. So I'm gonna have to get up out of here. Peace and one love. I hope y'all enjoy watching I hope y'all enjoy watching the recording. I hope y'all enjoy the games. Be careful out there. I will talk about I'll talk about the foods and stuff in a future episode, so don't worry about that. So in the meantime, peace and one love. Y'all be safe out there. Have a nice weekend. Let's go fucking Mets. Let's go. Good night, everybody.